What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 22 My Team Career Mode. This is the second race of the season now. Last time out we were in Bahrain. If you haven't caught that video yet, I would definitely recommend it. We actually won the race. We are a lot faster than we were in the previous season, and we have a car that is capable of competing for race wins on a regular basis. And yeah, it was enough for us to eventually overtake Leclerc towards the tail end of the Grand Prix and sail off into the sunset before holding off a late charge from Lando Norris. So yeah, very exciting, and I definitely recommend going and checking it out if you haven't already. This time out, we're going to be racing in Jeddah for the third time, and I'm hoping that we can get another victory here. It's a very strong circuit for me. I finished P4 here last year, and I was definitely on course with points in Season 1 before my car broke down. So yeah, I'm optimistic about our chances. We've now started developing the final facility upgrade for Spec 2 of the aero department. So after that, we will assess whether we can do a Spec 3 upgrade, and then we'll be able to fully complete the aero tree once we have the resource points for it. I think this season is going to be really representative of the settings that we're playing on, because I think a lot of the time we are going to be severely limited by the fact that we won't be able to do as many of the upgrades as we perhaps would want to be doing in such departments like the chassis department and the engine department specifically are the ones that come to mind, because you know, durability is not super important. But yeah, we are definitely going to slide down the order this season, so don't be surprised if I go from being sort of we've started out as the third fastest car on the grid. Don't be surprised if we finish the year sort of 7th or 8th or even lower than that in the rankings. The other teams around us are able to develop much faster than us, and that's by design. That's a choice that I made, and yeah, as such, we probably will not be in race-winning form for the whole season. Fittipaldi chose not to set a lap time in practice, but that's okay. We were P14. Yeah, I didn't really do any normal runs. We did a tyre-saving run, we did an energy-saving run, I think, and then we did the race strategy program, by which point my mediums were already a little bit worn, so we're not really sure of our pace. But yeah, it seems that we might struggle a little bit, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Getting all our development boosts for durability, and that's fine. You know, we do want to improve the durability of our car, because we still last season had 5 or 6 DNFs, which is, you know, probably 3 more, at least 3 more than I would want over the course of a season. If we want to be challenging for a championship, we have to be consistently finishing races. And yeah, that can only be done if we have the durability and the reliability to successfully do that. We've still got a bunch of durability upgrades we can get on the car. We've got a few in the chassis and aero department, nothing in the engine department yet, but like I said, I think most of our engine performance is going to come from supplier upgrades this season. I'm not going to focus on it because I don't think it's overly important. We've already got a pretty fast engine. If I could maybe do one more ERS upgrade, that would be ideal. I think then we would have a really strong car, but you know, we'll have to wait a little bit longer for that. And yeah, now we are moving into qualifying, and I'm going to be doing qualifying a little bit different to how I usually do it. Instead of doing 2 runs in the first 2 sessions, I'm actually only going to do 1 run, and then if it seems like I need to go again, I will, but I'm optimistic, knowing how fast I am around this circuit, that I probably will only need the 1 run to get myself into Q3 in both sessions. We set a 1:28.5. It's 4/10 faster than Gasly, who is very fast this season. He is in the 3rd best car on the grid now, because they have jumped us in the power rankings. AlphaTauri, yeah, P3 in the rankings, and it's good enough for P4, our 1 run that we do, so that's fine. We're through to Q2 with no real problems. But perhaps what is most disappointing is when I scroll down, you will see that Enzo Fittipaldi did not make it out of Q1. In fact, he didn't make it out of last. Now, he was very close to Latifi and Stroll, but we have the 4th fastest car on the grid. I'm a legitimate contender for pole position this week, and Fittipaldi's qualifying last? That is even more disappointing than I was anticipating. And I wasn't anticipating he was going to do particularly well. But that is like a whole another level of why is he doing that? You know, like how is he putting in performances that are this poor? It made me wonder maybe I should focus some of my energy into some more personnel upgrades. But you know, for now, our one run in Q2, and we set a 1:28.2. That's definitely going to be fast enough to get us through. And indeed, it was almost fast enough for us to be P1 in the session. But alas, we go through in P2. It's not a big deal. Both Alpines are out. Ricardo is out. Sonoda's out. Those are probably, you know, the sort of strangest exits. We have Albon through, but that's not actually overly surprising because they do have, I think, either the 5th or 6th fastest car in Formula 1. So they can definitely challenge for Q3 on occasion. And now we find ourselves in Q3. And this is our first flying lap. We are going to do 2 flying laps in Q3. So I've decided to do my first one on a used set of tyres. This will leave a set of softs fresh for the Grand Prix, which you know, means we might be able to do a soft medium or soft hard strategy or something, depending on how the softs look like they're going to degrade over the course of the race. Our first lap on the used soft was a 1:28.7. That's fine, and I think we can definitely find some improvement here in our final flying lap of Q3 to you know, put it on the front row of the grid, maybe even get our second pole position of our career. That would be quite remarkable if we could do that. Our first one came in Britain last season. It was a bit of a fluke pole. I wasn't really expecting it. This time out, I'm definitely expecting to be at least a contender for pole position. I'm currently P6 after everyone's done a run, so I'm hoping that I can improve on the fresh set of softs and we can maybe see ourselves move into pole position. We have a pretty atrocious run through the last few corners of Sector 1 and we lose a few tenths here and there. And now as we come into Sector 3, you can see we made up a lot of time through the first corner of Sector 3, or the first couple of corners of Sector 3. You know, like 3 or 4 tenths there. We shot up from sort of 5 tenths ahead to 8 tenths ahead. And now we come around the final corner. We'll try not to bin it on what is actually a pretty good lap. Who would ever do that? We make up another tenth as we come through this corner. We're improving by 9 tenths, but is it going to be fast enough to get us into pole position? It's a 1:27.8, and it's good enough. That's what we like to see. Pole position for the second time in my career. I'm very, very happy with that.
It's time to remind ourselves once again of our top 3. Robinson, Gasly, and Max Verstappen. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry. We'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
And look at Gasly there in P2. Very good performance from him. Like I said, he's very strong in this part of career mode. When he's got a fast car and he's firing on all cylinders, Gasly can be extremely fast. You know, I had it a few years ago in a career mode where I had him as my teammate, and season 3 was the first season I had him as my teammate, and we were pretty close. I think I edged him out in the championship by like 10 points or something like that. And then season 4, he battered me. He absolutely destroyed me. Like, it wasn't even close. So yeah, he has the potential to be very, very good. And I'm sure that just because we've qualified in pole doesn't mean that our race is over as far as checking out. I think Gasly is definitely going to give us a run for our money here. So yeah, I'll be excited to see what happens come the actual race. And yeah, we've got the traditional email from Mark saying, "Are you nervous?" To which I say no, because it's Jeddah. I'm a Jeddah master, so I'm pretty content with what's going to happen here. You know, worst case scenario, maybe we don't win the race, but I honestly think we're in with an incredible shot of winning it.
Today to one of the jewels of the Arab world, Jeddah. One of the biggest cities in Saudi Arabia, second only to Riyadh, gateway to Mecca, and one of the biggest ports in the region. And now, host to the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. So let's take a look at the topographical map of the Jeddah Street Circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Robinson lines up on pole position, and it's Pierre Gasly in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Albon, Charles Leclerc and Sainz, Russell, Perez, Hamilton and Fernando Alonso, Ricciardo, Joe, Max Verstappen. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. And Ocon, Tsunoda, Schwartzman, Christian Lundgaard and Mick Schumacher, Magnussen, Stroll, Latifi, Enzo Fittipaldi. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. A warm welcome to Anthony Davidson, who's beside me in the commentary box today. Can we talk about Mercedes? We have a number of changes to the aerodynamic regulations this year, and the signs haven't looked good for them so far in terms of getting to grips with those changes.
There are a few downcast looks within the team this weekend. I think they've been hit fairly hard by the new regs. But this is only the first step down a long road of development, and even if they don't maximise their points today, there are plenty more up for grabs this season.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
So, Verstappen, my rival, is taking a grid penalty in this race, which eases a little bit of my worries because it means that I might actually win another rivalry. I beat him out last time in Bahrain, and yeah, I think there's pretty much no chance that he's going to come back into this race enough for me to lose out to him in Jeddah. Now parking up on the grid, and well, I didn't mean to do that, but we are 2.6 meters back from where we could be in our grid slot, and that is definitely going to give Gasly the lead of the race to start with. Surely I don't. Unless I get like an incredible launch, I don't see how this is going to happen. But anyway, the lights come on. And the lights go out, and here we go. It actually, I don't know what Gasly's done there, but somehow he got an even worse start than I did. And yeah, it means that we're leading into turn one. I don't even have to go wide because there's no one challenging me, but Norris is challenging Gasly. That's a testament to the fact that Norris must have actually got a good start for a change, and Gasly did not. And I've already broken the DRS range to the cars behind. So yeah, this could end up being a Sebastian Vettel 2013-esque race where I just disappear off into the sunset. But we'll have to wait and see. It's one of my strongest tracks. There's no reason now that I really shouldn't win this race. You know, I don't see a world in which they're going to come back at me when I'm out of DRS range. And even if they were in DRS range, I'd just do the same thing I did last season and defend for the whole race if I had to. But yeah, I don't intend to make this difficult for myself. You know, some people on this platform, you know, will perhaps try and manufacture a little bit of drama if a race is going to be boring. If this race is going to be boring, I'm just going to let it be boring. I would much rather take the 25 points and you know, not have to worry so much about the championship in the future. So yeah, we move on to lap 5, and to be fair, the gap hasn't increased as much as you might expect. The gap has certainly stayed sort of steady. I don't think it's really decreased either, but yeah, Norris got in front of Gasly at some point, and he's currently holding the fastest lap of the race. But yeah, I'm still sort of maintaining sort of a 1.5 to 2 second gap between myself and the cars behind, so I'm hoping that we can just hold on to that for now. But maybe Norris will close us up as the stint goes on. I think we're pitting around lap 11 or something like that, so yeah, he'll maybe come back at us over the course of the stint, and we'll have to wait and see whether he is capable of doing that or whether Gasly's going to come back at him. And the question gets answered on lap 11. We're coming into the pits. Gasly's got ahead of Norris again, and yeah, I'm kind of just having a very lovely Sunday right now, as Max Verstappen might say. Get a nice overhead shot of the car as we come into the pits. It's actually a very strange shape in my opinion, but yeah, I like the way that the silver complements the green quite nicely. It definitely feels like a British racing car, you know, but it definitely doesn't look like the Aston Martin either. So yeah, I think we've done something quite good with the livery this season. we come out and we are pretty much side by side with Sonoda here. He's gonna, probably try and pile on the pressure and make my life difficult so his teammate can inherit the lead of the race. We actually go off the track a little bit there, but we don't get a warning or a penalty or anything, so that's fine. I guess we tagged the wall there, but I think our front wing is going to be all right. And yeah, could have been a bit sketchy there for a second with Sonoda, but I think we're going to manage to just about keep hold of this position without too many woes, and just kind of move forward through the race a little bit. Now just fast forwarding through the lap because it's pretty standard lap. Sonoda doesn't really attack me again over the course of the lap. I burn battery in all the places I need to, and yeah, now we are coming to the start of lap 13. I think Gasly has just pitted, and we'll see where he comes out. See if Sonoda did a good enough job holding me up, or not. And yeah, we move back up the order as everyone comes into the pits. Gasly actually comes out behind Sonoda and Schumacher, so Sonoda clearly did not do a good enough job holding me up because he's now holding his teammate up. But anyway, we move forward through the race, and we're now on lap 16, and as you can see, Gasly is much further behind me than he was before the pit stop phase. So yeah, that really that strategy from AlphaTauri really not paid off for them at all. It was a bold call, and it very nearly worked based on where I came out into traffic. But unfortunately, it just wasn't quite enough for Gasly to close me up any. But maybe he'll be able to come back at me over the course of this race once again, or maybe it'll be Norris, or maybe it'll even be Leclerc, who's chasing down a third championship on the bounce. He won in 2022, he won in 2023, and he'll be hoping to win again in 2024. However, he's not the only one. I think Norris, on the face of things at the moment, has a pretty good chance. Verstappen, obviously, will be eager to get back into the championship fight. And then myself, I will also be doing that. Someone who probably isn't in with a shot of winning the championship this season, George Russell, who we're on board with now, because he is out of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix with some kind of engine failure. When it pans to the outside of the car, you will see that he has gone up in a big cloud of smoke. There it is. And yeah, that is the end of his race. So he's going to need a string of good results and quickly if he wants to be back in this championship. I think the last time he was contending for a championship seriously was probably the first season of my career mode, where it was sort of him, Sainz and Leclerc were sort of the big heavy hitters, and then I don't know, Leclerc sort of pulled away in that season, and did the same in the second season as well. Here we are coming to the start of lap 23. If you didn't see, at the start of lap 22, Perez actually set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. I didn't really like that, so now I'm going to go for a fastest lap attempt of my own and see if I can snatch that final point of the race to get myself 26 points and mark out the best chance of keeping the lead of the World Championship for as long as I possibly can. The more fastest laps we can grab, the more race wins we can grab early in the season, the better chance we have of winning the championship. And either way, I just want to finish as high up as I possibly can in the constructors, because that is going to give us the best chance of earning enough money to improve our facilities to the point that we can develop the car to a strong level. Really, after we've got Spec 3 in the facilities, which just requires 9 of the 12 upgrades, it doesn't really matter too much after that if we don't upgrade any more of the facilities for a while. Keep hitting the walls around here, but the front wing is awfully resilient, it seems, today, so I'm sure we'll probably get some fines and stuff, but other than that, it's okay. Yeah, what was I saying? After we get the 9th upgrade of each facility to enable us to get all the Spec 3 upgrades on our car, we can probably just focus in completely on personnel until we max that out. And then we can really get a good teammate and a good teammate fight, hopefully. And yeah, then we'll focus on just finishing off everything that we need to finish off. We do set the fastest lap. It's a 1:31.0. I think it's about 0.3 faster than Perez's fastest lap last time. So we should be able to hold on to this fastest lap. In any case, as we come onto the final lap now, around into sector 3 of the final lap, you can see that I am once again significantly ahead of my previous fastest lap. So yeah, we should be able to hold on to that final point as well. But Gasly's closed me up quite a lot over the course of this lap actually, so he might be on course to steal the fastest lap away from me. It remains to be seen. Either way, we crossed the line, and after a very straightforward race, we weren't pressured basically at all. We take the win, so I'm very happy with that. I'm sure Anthony Davidson will have a lot to say about, whilst it might be a reductive statement, speed was the key factor in this race.
There's a few disappointed faces up and down the pit wall after that one, but not here. They've secured a phenomenal victory. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on track was: speed. I know it sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
Here comes your top three making their way down to the podium for what can only be described as a fantastic day for Formula One.
Called it. I knew he was going to say that. I knew Anthony Davidson was going to say that. He's the most predictable pundit in the world. But yeah, there wasn't really anything else you could chalk that up to. I was leading the whole race. What else could you attribute me leading the whole race to? I mean, I guess if there's a big crash at the start, but I don't know if there's a voice line for that one. We'll have to wait and see if something like that happens. But yeah, for now we take the win. It's Gasly P2, and then Leclerc gets another
So let's
P3.
review the drivers' standings. Robinson increases their championship lead. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Often my go-to would be a driver who's managed to pull off an especially impressive feat during the race. However, in this instance, I was more impressed by Max Verstappen's solid, clean driving throughout the event.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Meanwhile, AlphaTauri's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
So, Fittipaldi ended up finishing 17th. Not a bad showing from him, all things considered, given that he started last. He did actually finish ahead of quite a few cars, so that was all right from him. But yeah, we are more than happy to take the win here, and we're now 20 points clear at the top of the championship. So we're almost one DNF away from our nearest competitor. Like if we were to DNF next race, we could actually maybe still hold on to the championship. But obviously I want to, like I said in the previous video, I want to mark out as many race wins early as I can before our car starts to slide down the order, in the hopes that we can maybe win the drivers' championship this season. But that might be too tall of an order. I don't know. We also are leading the constructors' championship at the moment. I think it's a pretty safe bet to say that unless Fittipaldi gets his arse in gear basically immediately, we're probably not going to stay there. Ferrari are only 4 points behind us. They've got two strong drivers in this season. Norris and Ricciardo are also pretty strong for McLaren. If we can maybe get sort of like third or fourth in the constructors this season, that would be an ideal result. Anything even higher than that would be amazing. But yeah, I think unfortunately we're going to need personnel upgrades before we can think about doing that, which I'm not worried about too much at the moment, because I'm just focused on upgrading the car to make it more consistently fast over the course of many race weekends. And that just requires the facility upgrades for all of the car development departments. I've never heard a helicopter in any of those highlights before, so that's a new experience for me. But there we go, just showing all of the highlights of me scraping the walls as I went round here. I am on simulation damage, which is why I was very surprised that I didn't pick up any material damage over the course of any of those contacts. But I guess if it's fine, it's fine. And yeah, that was pretty much the story of that race. I'm surprised they managed to find as many highlights as they could, but they had to resort to me scraping the walls a lot. So I guess maybe that was all that was interesting about that race. In any case, I know it wasn't the most eventful race in the whole wide world, but I'm still sure that you're going to be pretty happy that I took the race win. And yeah, hopefully this is just a stepping stone to us marking out a exciting title challenge over the course of the season. Next up is Australia, if I'm not mistaken, which is a track I usually am pretty good at now that they've removed the one corner I was particularly bad at. And yeah, hopefully we can get another good result there to really mark out our chances of winning the championship quite strongly. Hopefully Fittipaldi can start getting in some good results as well. But that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.